I'm going to select the cathedral ring rail. So being that the halo ring kind of cathedral's up, we need to start with the cathedral ring rail. That way it'll have that nice arc up towards the center stone. So you can pull the viewport handles. You can see it's got quite a few. So if you hover over them, they'll give you a tooltip. You can pull the viewport handles to your liking. Always, when you're building models, keep production in the back of your mind. You know, I'm not gonna do something like that because there's no way that would cast. So let's do 1.6, and then we'll kind of turn it like this. And do something like that, maybe angle it a bit more. So I'm going to right click, and you can see the cathedral ring rail command has given me a basic outline of the ring. So the way to get an actual shank would be to profile place this. So I'm going to select profile place, and sorry, let me go to perspective. I build in perspective. Some people like to build in the 4 views. I like to have a bigger viewport, but yeah, so let's bring this down to 1.6 like we had it. I'm not going to relate this profile to the outside curve because I'm going to actually be pulling it off away. So let's go to 2, and then I'll select a half round. Go back to edit, and then we'll pull it off to the side. As I said, sometimes I go back to different views to see, and that one looks pretty good. So let's select it again, re-edit, and then we will drag on that curve, and you can see there's a little ball. So that little ball will be my next profile location. So if I hover right here, if I want a profile, I select a left click, and it'll produce another profile. So let's pull this one. And I'll do this one about 2.3, and let's make it 1.8. So now I need one at the bottom. So going down, left clicking, it will add one. So I'm going to do a square profile. Let's go back, and let's pull it off the side just a bit. Let's get down to 1.9 and make the width 2.5. So now you can see I have it starting close and joining at the bottom, and then it will open up as it goes up the shoulder. So now we can sweep. So I'm going to do a sweep 1. I'll select my first curve, and then top, middle, bottom. And you can see it gave me a half of a shank. So I'm going to go to cap, and I'm going to turn this one off because I'm inevitably going to mirror this 4 different ways and then join it all. So let's turn the bottom one off, and we can increase the thickness on this one. So I can right click, select that, and I'll just demonstrate real quick. So if I mirror, you can see I have that nice curve of the picture. But firstly, we're going to do a ISO curve. So I can extract an ISO curve. Let's pull it down and we're going to go to 0.5. Okay, so now we are in the middle of our surface, which is where we want to put the gems. Lydia, my screen froze. I recommend going out of, like logging out and then coming back in. It shouldn't be froze. I'm looking at the audience view on my panel. Okay, no problem. Sure, no problem. Apparently it came back, so. All right, so I'm going to put it in the middle, right click to accept, and now I have a curve down the center. So here, I'm going to gem on curve, and it'll put some gems. Yeah, there we go. If I can select the start profile. Okay, we'll just go up here and move it. Trying to tilt it back. Okay, now we're in business. So let's reduce the width. We'll do 1.3. This is the downside of working with viewport handles. Let's make sure the spacing is okay. Let's do 0.15. That's a good starting spot. And then we'll bring the start all the way up to where we want it to start and the bottom all the way down to where we want that to end. Then we can pull it into the metal. We can go to a different view and see that they are inside the metal. Pull it in a little bit more and right click. So now I have gems on my shank. They must still be angled because let's go back and edit. All right, right click to accept. So we're going to take this and Boolean. So I'm going to select my gems, grab a channel cut. So this will put a channel down the center of my gems. I'm going to reduce the width to 0.4 because we're going to make that French set look. Let's go to wireframe and we'll pull it just to the bottom of the stone and right click to accept. So now we have the center channel. Now we need the scallop cuts, this command. And that looks much better. So let's grab the half round, channel 3, select, and you can see I may need to go a little bit wider. So let's increase the width. Let's pull it down into the surface a bit more and increase the height. So right clicking will accept, and then we need to run that command one more time. Except this time we're going to select between gems. So I can either do that and go to the kebab menu, select that, go to style, and I will select middle. If I load that in, it will give me cutters in the middle. So let's edit that. I'm going to change the profile. I have I like using this one because it kind of makes a little rounded prong. So let's make sure they're all in the middle, which they appear, and then we will boolean. So we'll go to solid. A boolean just means to deduct from. So I'm going to, under solid, select boolean, select my surface, and then select my cutters. We'll select boolean difference, right click, and if I hide my orange, hide this, you will see I now have a French set. So I can select my shank and stones, and I'm going to mirror this 4 ways. So I'm going to select the mirror, I'm going to select X and Y to be on, and then I'm going to select the multi. So if I right click, you can see I now have the shank of the double halo. So now I have this and this. So now we need to work on the emerald and the halo. I guess I will complete the bridge first. So to do that, we'll kind of use the same premise. We will what's called profile place. Under tools, if I select profile place, it'll put a profile on that bridge curve. So let's select a different profile shape. And let's pull it even with the shank. Okay, so now that we're profile placing, we have a activate auto sweep command. If you toggle that on, it will automatically sweep that bridge. If I right click, I have a bridge now. I need to get it over to the other side, so I'm going to transform and mirror. And now I have the shank and the bridge. So now we need to work on this stone, right? So let's go to our gems tab and we will gem on ring rail. Going to select the bridge and let's pull it to 0.5, pull it up a bit, and then we will use the dynamic commands menu and select an emerald. We can do an emerald square or just a regular emerald. This one looks more like a true emerald. So let's select a true emerald. Okay, so I can right click. Select will import a gem into my viewport. So now I can run the halo command. So running that, you can see it puts a halo around our stone and it recognizes the shape. So let's pull the viewport handles and not the rotations. That rotation loves me. Let's pull the size and pull it down to 1 millimeter. Let's pull it up a bit, and then we'll go up to the dynamic command and go to halo. So this is where we can adjust the height. Let's see if we can go even thinner. So we can adjust the outer wall width and the inner wall width. pull the channel height up. And we can decrease the channel spacing a bit.
Pretty much exactly the same curve. So it'll actually still be right on the surface.
Okay. So I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to select the channel toggle and turn that off. So now I have a solid channel with prongs. So now I can go to the prongs and we can turn them off. So setting style prong, if you select off, it'll turn that off, and then I just have stones. So I'm going to save a style. So can come down here. These are all the styles that we have currently. I can save style and I'll do halo, no channel, and then save. Okay, so now we need another halo, right? Let me pull this down just a bit more and then I'll pull my stone up to make room for that extra halo. So I can rerun the halo command and it'll populate this. So then I can go to the kebab menu, select style, and then I will open that same style I just saved.
Looks like this is pretty close to
Can edit and adjust the spacing from center,
and of course you're going to see some overlap here,
and then pull it down a bit. Let's angle it. Make sure they're touching for casting reasons, which they look pretty good. And then let's go to the next tab, which is Halo. So here I can make the outside either thinner or thicker. I think I'm going to make it a little thicker. And that appears good. Let's go back to level 1. Angle it a bit more and then pull it in just a tad. And then we can go to wireframe mode to see how it looks. I think they're a little too close, so I need to re-edit and then kick it out just a bit more. And that looks good. So now we need to channel cut. So we'll do the same thing we did down here. So I can select them and we can match attributes, select objects to apply a style to, select objects to take a style from. So now I'm going to do my let's see what that is. So that is the in-between. Let's do that one more time on the top halo. Okay. So let's run the micro prong cutters under the cutters, and then we can do the in-between.
And now that's matching our Z-axis. And to change the blue arrow, we'll hit V. And that changes our Y-axis.
messed up.
So now, when we bring these curves down, it's going to look like we expected, right? So we'll go back to transform.
Just going to delete these and then do them from scratch because I don't think it likes the emerald shape. So let's rerun it.
So we can go to the looking down view from here. Let's go ahead and lock it.
Increase the width.
And then we'll select these curves.
And we can change the shape.
But once we offset one, we can use that distance for all the next. So I'll go curve, we'll get offset, and I'll go through curve. So I'm really just eyeballing it. But if you wanted to add your,
Whoa, not that much. Okay. Now we can increase the height and then drop it down into the metal. Right click and do it one more time for these.
one thing about this,
2.25. And increase the width. Right click, so now I have my micro prong cutters. Let's do the channel cut. Okay. Then we can do the top channel cut. Okay. So let's go ahead and boolean these. That way they aren't as cluttered. So under solid boolean, select this one and then the cutters. Then we'll go up to boolean difference.
let's go ahead and finish offsetting these, and then we're going to come back here.
And right click. And then we'll do the same for the inner halo. Boolean difference. And right click. So now I just need the in-between cutters. So select them one more time. Micro prong cut. I will go to the kebab menu and import a middle style. You can see I have a user saved one by the little user in the top left. If I select that and load it, it should import those, and I need to pull them down into the middle a bit. And then increase the length. So I'm going to resave this as a new style. Save style and rename this French set 1. Save style. So now I'm going to select the inner halo stones, run micro prong cutter one more time, and then open that style we just saved. So French set 1, load, and there we go. So now we need to boolean these, right? So solid boolean. Boolean difference. Right click and do it one more time.
All right, so select those, look at the transform and do project to see. And the lead input objects, in this case, that shouldn't be a problem. Wow, I'm just gonna do
Okay, thank you. Bye now.
Okay, so now we have the French set cuts. Now we just need a head. Going to hide this, and you can see it's starting to take shape. So let's go down to the gem.
Okay, I hope this isn't a huge jump from where this started.
And I'm going to increase the height a little bit more just because it's a little close to the inner halo. So let's go down. We'll pull the location to 7.5. So the halo should pop up with it. That's why it's taking you a while to calculate. There we go. And now we can select this halo and pull it down a bit more. And if we did it correctly, all the booleans and all the stones and everything should follow, which it did. Okay, so let's put a head. So I'm going to select the center stone, go to settings, and run the head builder command. So before we get too far, I'm going to full save. That way, if by chance we crash, because this is quite a long stack and a lot of calculations that my computer, which isn't the best, has to go through, I don't want it to crash and lose our progress. So let's go back to the head and we will edit. Okay, so I have 2 gallery rails. I don't need those because I have the halos, so I'm going to reduce the rail count. And then pull the base of the prongs up. Reduce the thickness and the overall height. And then angle it in. Okay, so I'm going to go to the level 2. So here is a pretty cool thing that we added into the software. So for the first time, you can actually give the head a set look. So let's do that, and we'll pull it in a bit. You can see it does pretty nicely. And then let's pull the base nudge in. This will bring the bottoms to create that gallery rail, but I'm doing it from the prongs. So, and then I will increase the width. There we go. Right click to accept. Okay, let's see how we did. So these are a little round. I like the claw prongs, but they are a little long, so let's edit those.
And I'll do the same thing on the other side.
There we go. So that is that. The main benefit of, let's see, it's not touching. So that's a simple fix with the parametric history of MatrixGold. You can always come in here, we can edit, and we can adjust things, and the software automatically snaps the model into place. That's the main benefit of modeling in MatrixGold. It has the parametric history, so adjusting things automatically updates the model. So if by chance your customer comes in and says, I don't like how it's underneath the halos, I want it to meet the halos. So you come down to Cathedral Ring Row, simply pull it out.
All right, and there's your shape.
It's doing a lot of calculations with the booleans, so just give it a second.
And now we can project this back onto our surface. So with that selected, go ahead and project it.
Angle it a bit.
Select our surface to project. After we unlock that layer. All right, so not too bad, right? And actually, this is
And right click.
from here. You can pull this curve back.
And there we go.
Let's go ahead and do that.
As long as that took, it is a lot quicker than redrawing the whole ring for that little change. I don't know how many of you guys are actual designers. I know Lynn is for sure. So the having to redraw that just for that simple change is never fun. I've wasted quite a bit of time in CAM services redrawing customer models for simple changes like that, and it's very frustrating sometimes, just because the customers don't always know the amount of time you put into the model. So MatrixGold kind of gives you some of that time back. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments in the questions tab. I think I'm going to do a quick render real quick. So let's job bag him.
And now I'll go to the surface.
They did just release a update to MatrixGold, so you should have all these pretty icons now. There will be a bunch more changes coming up with the way things render and animation, stuff like that. So it will get a lot better. Okay, so I'm going to open up this one, open the content, and import it.
Okay. And now we'll select all that.
So then I'm going to go to my job bag,
And of course, you'll probably want to round this up. So
find him, and import that.
and we can just fill it in.
Now when I import it, you can see it brings all the history over. So that's why it's kind of locking up. Okay, so now we're going to go to the render tab, open up the render studio, select the green and the purple layer, and we'll give it a 14 karat white. Then we're going to select the stones, apply material, go to environment, make sure all these are good. 150 passes is good enough. Get our viewport how we want, and render. And now we wait. So MatrixGold takes advantage of ray tracing technology. It's a lot different than V-Ray or any of those other softwares. Those you simply apply a picture to the actual model and it renders the picture. Ray tracing is quite complicated and probably needs somebody with a bigger brain than I to explain it to you. But essentially, it takes a photon and it bounces around the metaphorical render room, and everything it touches, it records. So you will get more lifelike renders with ray tracing, but they are a little bit harder to get that nice render look. You can see I probably needed to boolean my stones away for this top halo because the prongs look a little, I mean the diamonds look a little dull, but you can see the ones that are actually hitting the light, like the center stone and these, they kind of look very bright. So these are good. You can see these don't hit as much light, so they're not as good as these. If I were to boolean at 110% a gem cut, that photon would then have more room inside that gem to bounce around, where now it's hitting the metal that's inside the gem and bouncing back a duller reflection. So that is the Render Studio. Any questions for anybody here that would like to me to model something real quick? We have about 10 minutes left, so I'll leave that open for questions, comments. It's got to be one question. In the meantime, I'll just build a gent string. Can you show any clay you sculpting with a ring rail? Lydia, that would take a lot longer than 10 minutes, especially because I'm not very good at clay. If you would like something like that, I recommend contacting us. I'll put the number in the comments, and you can reach out to us, and we'll give you a one-on-one demo. A one-on-one demo where we can spend more time. And I also have a 5% discount code on anything on the Gemvision store that I'll share with you.
It'll be information on the MatrixGold.
So if you use that code, you will get 5% off anything on the Gemvision store. Okay, so let's go ahead and do something like this. A twisted band. Okay, so that's not terribly hard. MatrixGold has, let's see, let me offset this. I'll offset it. Okay, so a twisted band, that would be a little easy. If you wanted like a rope style, you can come here, select the rope, go down to just 2 threads, and we can increase the thickness. Okay, so we have that. We can then increase the turn distance. And I know there is a way to make it closer together. Trying to find that. Nope, not that one. There it is. Minus 0.25. Pull them in a bit. Right click. So now I have this. So you can see I can come here and extract that ISO curve. Can then come here and cut with ring rail. It's asking me for the surfaces. Select that. Right click. And now I have it cut to ring rail. So what's good about this model now, as I increase the finger size, the model will update as well. You can see how fast it is when it doesn't have a lot of booleans to calculate. So you can then extract an ISO curve. Put gems on that curve. Where is my end? Okay. Think I broke it. Well, I think I'm mirroring it, that's why. Anyway, let's put the stones, and then you can come here, put prongs. Pull the nudge in, increase the diameter. So I can, let me get these out the way. Okay. I can then take this, and let's say I wanted every other one. So I can polar array 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try 5 times. So I'm going to transform polar array. So right now it's mirroring around the y-axis. I need it to go, I'm sorry, it was mirroring around the x. I need it to go to the y. So now I have one every other. If you wanted to do a infinity twist where it's similar to this, except you want them in a channel or something like that, you would just make this profile wider and sweep your own profile and do gem on curve, channel cut, and then prong place. So. Okay. So a few minutes left. Any remaining questions? I hope you enjoyed your time. In the handout section on the little panel, you should have 2 documents. One is the CAD/CAM production standards. If you're any type of designer and you send any of your models to Stellar, I recommend checking that. Not everybody has the years and years of bench experience, so it's a good document to kind of follow as you build your model, because it gives you specifications on bezel size, on prong size, on thicknesses of rings, stuff like that. It's a great resource to look over as you're modeling. The second one is the latest MatrixGold training guide. This will go over all the commands, the dynamic history, stuff like that MatrixGold has in it. That way you can check it out to see if it meets your needs and stuff like that. So, if nobody has any last minute questions, I think Lynn is quiet for the first time ever. Lynn's a good buddy of mine, so I'm just picking on him. Anyway, if you guys have any questions and you need to get in touch with us, please use that number at the bottom. My name is Beau. Lydia, B-E-A-U. If you call, you can ask for me. I am the Central Territory Director, so I go from Louisiana to Alabama, all the way up to Michigan, that whole central U.S. area. You are welcome. If you're not in the Central Territory, I will get you with one of your sales reps. We have one on the East Coast, one on the West, and we have one outside guy that catches everybody else in between. So, if you guys have any questions, please reach out. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with us, and I will see you guys here next Wednesday. Be sure and sign up. So thanks for joining. We'll see y'all later.